On this episode, we talk about how we get lost in the YouTube algorithm. Next, we talk about another movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. And just in time for Father's Day, we finish up the show with our top 5 things we've learned since becoming fathers. It's a little serious at the end. All that and more tonight on the Lazy Dog Cast. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 12 of the Lazy Dog Cast. We're back again. Have a little bit of a hiatus, not for you, but for us. Week and a half since we recorded last.
My apologies. I apologize.
Oh, it's not just your fault. It's busy.
It's good to be back in the lab, boys.
Back in here in the studio.
Got a lot in the crock pocket cooking.
Yeah.
Go.
Did you say crock pocket?
No.
I'm not gonna let that fly, dude.
No,
You said crock pocket.
No, that'd be weird. Why did I say that?
That's funny. What you got something for us?
I do have something. I just want to know, do you guys, I mean, everyone gets caught in the rabbit hole sometimes on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter or whatever your big deal is. I'm a YouTube guy myself.
Agreed. Me too.
I'm all over the board on YouTube, dude. I'm watching like pasture raised pigs and chickens to how to raise tomatoes to how to make to just stupid comedy to I'm all over the board.
Watch a guy mow a lawn. Have you seen those?
Where they walk up to like a really crappy lawn.
See?
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Great content.
Because I get caught in some rabbit holes like I
watch those every time.
Do I really care? No. The chicken Albania up in the mountains that's cooking everything from scratch, like she's killing a lamb and like showing it all and skinning it and like the peppers on the cutting board that's just a piece of pine wood in their backyard.
A couple pieces of stone.
All day, every day.
Awesome.
The jokers that make their own huts like out in the rainforest out of clay.
Those guys, those same people, that they're like, hey, we're going to grab all this stuff in the rainforest and we're going to make a cool water slide. And
right.
I almost think that they're like somewhere in Texas or something.
Well, no, it's
you know what I mean?
They got to be somewhere. They're somewhere tropical, but it's for sure. They're for sure.
Like they're not indigenous people.
No,
like.
It's Randy and Steve that got good tans.
Yeah, they're 3 miles over from a major city.
They're doing 4 hours. They're doing 4 hours of work on a 50-hour build.
And they're like, good work, boys.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go back
if you pan over, there's a Walmart.
Yes. Yeah. And they're going back into their condo. And
yes, I think,
But I'd be lying if I didn't say I got caught in that rabbit hole. Animals, hunting animals is a big one for me.
Animals hunting animals?
Yes, brother. Yes, it could be anything.
Like the zebra that's crossing the river, and there's like the crocodiles.
Yeah.
Like
you know what my favorite is though? When these comedians, typically black comedians, that voice over an animal.
Dude,
I saw one the other day. They're way better than Snoop Dogg.
Oh,
There's some.
Sure?
100% yes. Like Randy Baker's one. This other dude, I can't forget his name, but he's calling himself Pumbaa. Mm-hmm. He's a warthog. And he's like, let me get some of that water. He's like, at a watering hole. You can't do it. Oh, shit. There's some lions over there. Oh, you ain't gonna get me. Oh, God, stir. Like, I'll click on his page. Like, let's watch 40 more of these.
And it's just off the cuff.
Yes.
Off the dome. It's
probably not. He probably like rehearses it, but it is great.
But some of it, I mean, like maybe. It's definitely not line for line scripted.
No.
Maybe the main points are for sure. Maybe thought ahead of time, but
you're right. I mean, again, like in the locker room,
exactly.
These dudes are just hilarious.
Yes, for sure.
And it's just they grow up around 40 other guys just like them.
Yeah.
You just happen to meet that guy. Yes, 100%. Did you guys ever see back in the day the video Unforgivable? It's like a 4-part series. It's a black and white screenshot of this black dude with jacked up teeth, and he talks like this. He's like, I was at Home Depot the other day looking for a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about waffle fries.
Yeah. For free.
Yeah, for
free.
Dude. Yeah.
I was in a rabbit hole somewhere. I couldn't, and it came up, and I was watching something. I was like, dude, that was the rage back. That was like the beginnings of YouTube.
Us, though. Yeah, because it's like, what's the other one? Like, I'm Greg, like the swamp guy.
My name's old Greg. Yeah, I talked about that. One of our from Doug. Yeah. But yes, 100%, dude. Like those videos, or how about Jaeger bombs. It was that guy that was just like acting like the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, let me see your ID. Not now, Chief. I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
Yeah. Those are the OGs, man.
You were on YouTube. You weren't.
None of those.
No.
What were you doing?
I was on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since it's been there.
What were you watching? Super Saiyan Goku 4?
I never watched Dragon Ball Z.
You didn't watch anything cool.
No, I watched.
What were you watching?
I was watching. I don't even know. Like what time frame was this? What year? What was the year?
I would say
2008, 9.
But also 4 or 5.
Oh,
04, 05.
maybe not then. I was at the early days.
Bro, I've been on YouTube. That's why I can't get on Twitter, because I got on YouTube from the jump. I've been a YouTube guy forever.
It's like 8th grade.
And then Twitter, I was late to it, and I just couldn't catch up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm gonna be the old fart on this thing. I can't do it.
I'm the same on there. I know it's a good platform for us. Like, subscribe, follow, all those things. But some of these people's stuff, I'm like,
Re-exit, dude.
This is dumb.
Re-exit. So yeah, dude. Shout out rabbit holes on YouTube.
Yeah. Speaking of, I would brought up the mowing one because there's one called SB Mowing. He comes up to like random, like it's like a abandoned lot
For free. He does it for free.
For free. Yeah. But like, and he's from Wichita because I was watching this video.
Really?
Yeah,
I seen that dude. Yeah, he got called up by the cops or something.
and I saw the police. I was like, I recognize that police car.
Stinked it. Yeah, hell yeah.
Hey, maybe we gotta get him on the show.
We got to clap, man.
Reach out to him. He's got
Dude, give him a new platform.
He's got like 10,000, 100,000 subscribers. I'm sure he'll be.
Dude, hey, we'll give you hella shine, dude. Just come on.
No, I will.
That's funny.
But I'm like, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's a genius.
It's fascinating.
This is his job, and he like figured out that people love to watch this. Like, it's like the satisfying thing,
It is,
right?
it is, yeah.
It's so fascinating
It's
to
like-
watch
it's
him like just like slice it up. It looks great.
That power washing stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
I watch that
power
stuff all
washing.
day long.
But also, it's got to be. Those are shorts. Giving
Yeah.
it to him.
Yeah.
I'm not watching.
Bro, I watched the whole
How
thing.
long?
It's
How long,
45
dog?
minutes.
What?
It's 45 minutes.
45 minutes,
Yes,
Dave.
Yes,
Dave.
and I'm
This
I'm
is
watching
why he
sped
didn't
up.
see any of the stuff we used to
I'm watching
watch.
sped up stuff.
bro.
Yeah,
Well,
what are you
to be fair,
talking
I do.
about?
I use the arrow 4, which is 5 seconds. But I'll watch it and I'm like, man.
I watch
he's-
a 2 or
he's getting
3.
it.
I watch a 2 or 3 minute clip, but it's like
No
sped
way,
up of him doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I have.
You're a psychopath,
No, I just have
dude.
I just have this crazy thing that's called an attention span of like an adult. It's like
What?
I can watch
No, you
long form
don't.
content.
No,
You do not.
enjoy
You're the opposite of an attention span.
You
What?
enjoy
Stop it.
boring stuff, dude. 45 minutes? I love it too, dude. In a 45-second clip.
Yeah, I watched the clip, but now I
Same.
want to see him like talk to the guy afterwards, and I want to see like how it ended up.
Pass. No way, dude.
Okay, but the other take I have on those like people, it's always like he goes to the house, he asks if he can mow it, and they're like, "Oh, well, so and so broke their leg and they haven't been able to mow and blah blah
Yeah.
blah." And it's like,
No,
no, guys,
That's not true.
These are all like
a setup.
these are all irresponsible people who
Yeah.
are lazy.
Yep.
And I will give them maybe like 1 out of 35 people like actually had something happen to where they can't mow their lawn. But everybody else will figure out a way to get their lawn taken. If you broke your leg tomorrow, either your wife would be mowing the lawn or your in-laws or somebody would be coming over to mow your lawn.
You're not volunteering, bro? You're going to make my father-in-law mow my lawn? You're not going to be like, hey, Colin, let me help you
I'm
out?
gonna come over. I'm gonna come over, man. I'll
I
come
just
to
didn't
your
hear you say I'd
house.
help you
House.
out.
What are we doing? 3 inches on the cut, or what are we doing?
3.5 on the deck, bro.
All right, I'll hit you. I
Push
got you.
mower in the front, please.
Yeah, of course I'll be over there. But it just cracks me up because it was like,
Yeah.
well, so her mother died, and then her.
I was just gonna mow it today. I was gonna get out there today and mow it.
Yeah, it's taller than this table.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, no.
Dude, no,
You
yeah.
need a machete. You get like it's like driving through the jungle
Hey,
here.
yeah.
How about this? Another one I like is these guys who get gypped on their payment.
Yeah.
And they go back, like concrete guys or whatever, and they go back
Yeah.
and just start sledgehammering everything and ripping up their
Uh-huh.
stuff. They're like, you know,
Seen
screw
those.
the Court of Appeals and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just going to damage everything I just did.
Yeah.
I see.
They were.
Love that. Love that. Take it into your own hands.
I wonder
Yeah.
if that's illegal though.
Who cares?
If you go to jail and obviously on video, you might care then.
You know what shocks me?
You
though?
think that guy cares, bro?
What shocks me
mean, I
though
don't
is
know.
He
I'm
don't
just saying.
care.
the number of like rich people that will gyp people on payments for stuff. Because it's just like, hey, well, this will be held in litigation
The
forever.
rich stay rich, bro.
And it's over like crazy stuff of like sheetrock in a house or something, right?
Yeah. I am perfectly willing to pay for things. And a lot of people just they want things for free. We live in this age of there is a lot of things that are just free.
Yeah.
Right? You can get infinite content. Coffee. Exactly. But you can get infinite content for free, right? Infinite. And people expect that for everything. Like this guy does like a really, really good job. I've seen other people do it. Great job. Like, I mean, your lawn looks great. And like people just don't want to pay. They don't want to pay him. They want to pay like $10 or something like that. It's like, that's not what this is worth. He's been out here for 6 hours. You know what I mean? Like,
will you put Christmas lights on my house for $50?
It's like what? Come on. Like
in 1925, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to have this service. That's also a thing, right? This thing that you're at, you don't need Christmas lights in your house. But if you do, like pay the man what he's worth.
You're just, I don't know. I feel like that's the outside of society, because you're just a piece of trash.
But
someone's gonna sheetrock your whole house or do something like,
but
in a bedroom, like you're just not gonna pay the guy.
Yeah,
but to my point,
piece
though,
of scum.
There are like scum that don't have money that will just do that to because I don't want to pay. And there are scum that do have money to pay for it, and they just circumvent the system to not pay for it.
I mean, it comes
when you have the money to do it. So,
yeah.
and then it's just us in the middle who probably pay the higher margins or whatever for it because the other two didn't pay. So we have to pay premium for it because it's just like it's just like hospital bills.
Yep.
And
no.
Pharmaceutical.
That doesn't count. That just not.
Hey, don't be defending because you're in
no,
the industry.
But you're not, dude. Like insurance, that doesn't.
Hey, I'm not coming after your wallet, man.
I'm
It's
not
all
talking
good.
about that. No, dude. I think you're on. Either we're not understanding each other, or you're elevating this. Hospitals, all that stuff. That's totally different. I'm thinking like the guy comes over to redo your bathroom. He can do a lower class bathroom. He can do a super rich person's bathroom, and they can both not pay him.
Yeah.
But they come to like my house, and he does a really good job. I'm willing to pay more. I'm like, that's cool. That's fine. I'm like, my dad raised me like, hey, dude, it's just money. You'll make more of it.
Yeah.
Which probably is why I'll never be uber rich like these other guys, because I'm not looking to cut every corner or whatever. But I don't know. Someone does a great job.
Yeah.
They should get paid well.
Yeah.
Speaking of cutting corners, that might be the perfect segue into our movie review, which is Catch Me If You Can.
Dude, you're getting good at this.
The absolute king.
You're getting good at this, dude. Did you practice that one?
No,
That was good.
But you guys are talking about cutting corners and not paying, and I was like,
I like it.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. So Frank
Abagnale.
Not
Not Abagnale, not Abagnale, Abagnale.
That's an unfortunate name.
The ultimate con man.
Yes.
Abagnale? Why is that unfortunate?
It's just not as cool as it should be for a scam artist.
I think he made it pretty damn cool, bro.
Yeah. But I do have some really good notes about this.
What you got?
This was my pick.
All right, hit us with this stuff.
So I picked Catch Me If You Can, one of my all-time favorites. I just love it.
Is this a Mount Rushmore?
I mean, it's in there. Yeah, probably the top.
I remember seeing this movie, and then when I rewatched it, it jumped up quite a bit on the list for me. I did enjoy it. I knew I was like, it's a good movie. This is a really good movie.
So the movie was based on the book written by also Frank Abagnale, titled Catch Me If You Can.
So wait, time out. He made a bunch of money ripping people off, and then he wrote a book about ripping people off and made a bunch of money, and then he worked for the FBI and made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
This guy can't lose.
Allegedly.
Hey, this mofo don't miss.
I'll get to it. There's a lot of alleged
All right.
tales of this guy.
Okay.
What a winner.
But I will throw in there that this is directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
So, which it threw me off a little because I was thinking this may be a different style or whatever. But of all of the Steven Spielberg movies, you guys can probably think of a few popular ones over the years. He's a legend.
Who's Steven Spielberg?
This is upon like reviews online and everything, ranked 4th of all his movies.
Really? Wow.
Yes, and this is in a class of E.T., Schindler's List, Jaws.
E.T.?
E.T. is number 1.
It smokes E.T.
That's another, era thing.
It's a classic. It is a classic movie.
E.T. sucks.
Yeah,
dude.
so
I've never seen it.
So yeah, E.T. number 1.
Don't watch it. It sucks, dude.
Schindler's List 2, Jaws number 1.
Jaws, cult
3.
classic. I'll allow it.
Also, other movies by Spielberg: Indiana Jones,
Tight.
Lincoln,
Okay.
critically acclaimed.
Yes.
Saving Private Ryan. which we still need to get to. Dave has not seen that movie.
That's a good one.
No, we can't because Dave he's seen too many people shooting people. It's fine.
No, Dave likes World War II.
No,
Are you paying
we're
attention to
gonna
the
give
cast?
Dave a break.
I like World War II movies.
Yeah,
I
no,
like war movies.
we will
For
be
sure.
reviewing Saving Private Ryan at some point because Dave hasn't seen
Shaving Ryan's Privates.
it. So
The spoof. The spoof.
yes.
You ever seen that one?
Yes. So
haven't.
the cast in the movie: Tom Hanks, Leo DiCaprio, Christopher Walken, one of my favorites.
He is good.
You know, Amy Adams
Yep.
was in this,
young
and
Amy Adams.
Jennifer Garner, which I didn't remember her
Garner's
being
in
in
it.
this, but she was.
Who else is in it? There's other people in it. There's another woman that he's like into for a little bit. That works at the bank. That shows him
Yeah,
I can't remember her
Those
name,
are
but
the-
she's-
Early on, she's too quick though.
Those are the main ones,
She's here and there.
Yeah.
but if I didn't throw this out, 2002 is when this movie came out. It won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. And then, so the movie's...
Who's the supporting actor?
Tom Hanks. I'm assuming.
That's what I would assume too, but
Christopher Walken.
Oh,
See,
okay.
Yeah. Which I
little
didn't love his character in the movie.
I disagree. I think
Maybe because that's a cultural thing. Because he's like from a New Yorker, so I didn't really like understand.
No, I think Christopher Walken had a lot of depth to his character. Like he, at face value, he's a scumbag that can't make it work. You know, he might be a swindler that just made it, you know, this or that. But I think the deeper you dive into his character, he is grooming his son to be how he is.
Yeah.
And he sees the potential in his son. And he just like, it's just like a dad who wants their kid to be great at baseball because he was a great baseball player.
You think he's a scumbag? Why?
His dad?
Yeah. What did he do that was scummy?
Well, he was like always he wasn't paying his taxes. He was always trying to dodge the IRS. All this.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, he was like, I'm not saying he's like a scumbag, like,
He wasn't the
in
best
the normal
role
sense of the word.
model.
But I'm saying, like, he was always like, you know, well, we're going to win this battle. Like, he's always making himself like the big, like the good guy.
Yeah.
But really, he's probably doing some illegal stuff or not paying his taxes or whatever else. And his son just starts, at first he's like, yeah, Dad, we're going to win.
Yeah.
And then his son's really like, oh, this is how the game's played. And so then when he realizes his son has taken on the role to the umpteenth degree, he's always covering for him because he's like, dude, he's going to get him because, and then his son's like, I'm going to get our money back. I'm going to get it all. I think he was a great character.
In the movie, I love the fact that he's just like, you think I'm going to give up my son? And he's like specifically lying about, you know, when he's asking him questions. But sometimes when he's just like, where are you going tonight, Frank? You know, where are you going? You know, where are you going to be? And I'm like,
somewhere, what does he say? Somewhere
tropical or what? And I'm like,
yeah,
what's he talking about? But maybe that's like a New Yorker banter that I don't.
No, I just think it's like he's cooking like something extravagant up in his head about his son. And his son's like, yes.
But he's just, I don't know. He's always just talking nonsense. And I'm like, what is he saying?
No,
Like,
he was great, dude. He was
I
great.
think he did. I think he's a bit part. It was a
Yeah.
small part, but
No,
like,
I
he's
love-
memorable though.
I love
It's
his
memorable. Like he did a great job. with it.
I love the actor.
He was an amazing supporting actor.
Have you won the Academy Award?
Maybe the Oscar winner.
So the other interesting part about the movie and like the true life events is, so he committed these crimes during 1964 to 1969 in real life.
Yes.
Where he posed as an airline pilot, posed as a doctor, a lawyer. The other part that they didn't put in there was a university professor.
Yeah.
Yes. All while forging $3 million in fraudulent checks,
Crazy.
which in today's worth is about $30 million.
Jeez.
So
It was so easy too.
Dude, but like
He
that's,
literally just watched movies and read some stuff. And I was like, I gotta do
dude,
this.
this is something that I think today checks should not exist
No,
anymore.
no.
They should just not. They are
And they still
way
do.
too. Yes. Like why are we using checks?
yeah,
Like there's your information on that. What's on your check? Your name, your address, your routing number, your account number. Here you go. Like
Yeah.
I just think I think checks are so antiquated. And even in 1969, they're like
yeah.
just rife with fraud.
Well, I think it's hilarious how, like, today if a check bounces or something happens to it, you get alerted within
Yes.
12 hours.
Exactly.
They're like 3 weeks behind this guy.
Yes.
They're trying to figure out where he's at
Yes.
based on where he's banking out of and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like 3 weeks. This guy's everywhere. He's moving every 3 weeks.
And
all
they're
this stuff.
and they're almost making fun of the lead investigator Tom Hanks's character of like being like, hey, So here's a number. He's forging his numbers, and the guy's like, my wife balances a checkbook, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and they're
for
like,
sure.
this dude's committing real fraud.
Yes.
And they just think it's funny back then or whatever. But
His jokes are funny.
the other also true facts in this movie is he committed all these crimes from the age of 16 to 21.
Yes.
And retired to France at the age of 20 and was arrested at 21 in France. But just the fact that he was able to.
Oh, so when they caught him in France in the movie, he was actually he's like, I'm retiring, I'm done.
In real life, yeah.
He did.
And in the movie.
And they're just like, oh, we got you.
But yeah,
in the movie, he was like making
He was still
checks
making
and
checks.
But the crazy part about it, so there was a 10-year period from the age of 16 to 26, all this happened. So from 16, he started these crimes. And then 26, 21, he got arrested. 26, he was out of jail and then working for the FBI. So all this happened during almost his adolescent years.
Yeah, well, that's wild.
But also, it does make some sense to me because I think I've told you this before. I had some homies in high school that were printing off their own $1 bills. And then they'd bump it up to $5 bills and $10 bills. Because they were just buying a Nutty Buddy at lunch or whatever, or paying for, they'd wrinkle it up and it was good enough. The lunch ladies didn't notice.
Yeah.
And then one guy's like, well, if it costs $2, I give her $5, I get $3 back. I'm washing money.
Yeah, you're laundering it. Yep.
And there was a couple dudes who were pretty good at it. And then their homies got involved and it was all offset.
Yeah.
And there was legit cops came to the campus. I don't think anything ever really happened, but they basically put the fear of God into them, like, hey, morons.
Jail for a long time.
This is a big deal.
Yeah. See, that seems,
but it's that easy. You're just like,
well, that seems much harder to me because you're forging like an official government document, which is a dollar bill.
I'm just
this
saying,
is just a
like,
piece of
how,
paper.
like, if you get away with it, like a 6, like at 35, at 25, whatever, you're just like, I don't know, it's gonna catch up to me. This and that. At 16, you're like, worked on a couple times.
The other funny part about like doing research on this movie where it's like fact versus fiction is fact, he did forge checks. Fact, that did happen during the time that he said that it did, like during 16 to 21 or whatever. There is some discrepancies saying he was like arrested or incarcerated during some of these times, so some of them add up. But the other part is journalists, other investigators or whatever say that they have not been able to prove that he actually did pose as a doctor within a hospital.
Okay.
Attorney's office, Pan Am, which he also, which he was.
So they're saying that he didn't. He just was stealing the checks.
And you got to So you got to remember.
Either way,
You got to remember he wrote this book. So I got some. I got some takes on this. He wrote the book this movie is based off of, right? And so you got to think you're going off a dude who is an all-time great liar, right? You watch the movie. You got to remember, and
maximum standard. Brother.
He even is on record of saying, even if 50% of what I said was true, it's still a pretty good story, right?
Yeah.
However, I will throw out there, so all the doctor, all the stuff, so he did forge the checks. That is claimed. It's proven.
Doctor, do you concur?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But I will throw out there.
Yeah.
I will throw out there though, if we all work for corporations and stuff. If there's no proof that that person, like lied and worked his way into your corporation, why would a big corporation admit it? That happened, right? Because
especially the doctors.
A doctor, right? If you were on staff when somebody got hurt, right?
Yes.
Liability, boom, you're done, right?
This guy's
Attorney's office, if you were on the hook of any time when he was in there, boom, you're done. Pan Am, if there was a flight that went down, anybody got hurt, anything happened, you're done, right? So Berkeley College, like all these places, you're not going to willingly admit that, hey, this guy worked his way in our system.
True.
So I will throw out there that,
but he's
a liar.
He was always flying the jump seat.
Yeah, but they never proved that he actually did that.
Well, I'm just saying, but like they never portrayed him as like the guy.
And it's also in the 60s too. So it's hearsay, which I'm obviously leaning towards like, I hope all this is true. It's an amazing story, right? And then I'm also leaning towards like nobody's been able to prove it, but also why would any of these people admit
Sure.
that actually
Yeah.
happened to them? Because that's embarrassing.
No, for sure.
You're holding yourself liable for millions, even to.
Yeah.
I mean, statute of limitations are probably up for all that stuff, but
Also though, you're skipping over the part if someone like comes into my company and they lie their way through and they're just like show up one day and they get their own fake email or whatever. And like, hey, this is my name's Johnny Two Sticks and I'm the new MSL in your region.
Yeah.
We'd all be like,
Sure.
nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, why
Like,
would you
I'm
think
not
of it
fact
twice?
checking anything. Like, tight, dude. Cool.
I was gonna say of all these,
and I
claims,
email him. He's like, let me double check on that. And he like
Yeah.
does his own Google
Yeah.
real quick. I'd be
Yeah.
like, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I was gonna say to you guys, like, or propose a question of,
You're gonna propose?
yeah, of all the things that you could fake or whatever today, like, right? Because it's not the '60s anymore. You can't like just put a fake sticker on something. I still think like you could fake your way through a college diploma.
For sure.
I mean,
You don't need to. You don't need to anymore. Just
you could just say
get a
because
D and pass.
I've heard so many stories of CEOs of companies and stuff that don't have degrees, and you just get into company. They don't call.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they're
that
not
was
calling.
kind of the joke at my old
Let's-
company. I'm not gonna say the name on here, but they basically said anyone from blank company has won 5 president's awards, which is like the top 10% sales rep or whatever in the country, because they're not going to answer a call from someone else that's poaching you. So it's like when you would leave or you're done with your job, you just put whatever you want on your resume. Ain't nobody going to call. To your point, I don't have to go to Harvard.
Yeah.
I could just say I graduated from Harvard.
Yeah. And he was so smart in the movie and in real life too, right? Where he's 17 states away and he's saying, I graduated from Berkeley in California while he's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's jumping all around. So, and it's so, and like I said,
What's so smart about that, bro? Because he knows a map?
no, because he's distancing himself from where he's saying that he went
Because
to
he's
school
not saying
from.
I went to Atlanta A&T.
But he's also, yeah.
I mean, that's just like,
But
that's
he's
pretty
also-
common sense. That's not too, like, you're like, don't
And
give him that much credit
and
on
the
that.
people who he's still alive, but people who personally know him or whatever say like his greatest skill wasn't his intellect or anything like that. It was his ability to tell a story.
Yeah. His charisma was off the charts.
Yes, his charisma.
He's reading people,
I'm telling you, bro.
taking advantage of a high trust society. Like, because he saw the guy coming out of a hotel with like stewardesses.
Hire
I'm gonna go get like an
internship
the uniform,
program.
right? He gets the
Yeah.
uniform, and literally he wasn't even planning on being a pilot at first. He talked to the person at the front desk, and she was like, "Oh, are you the deadhead?" And he's like, he had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, oh yeah, I'm the deadhead."
It's been a while since I've done this.
Yeah,
Remind me?
Yes. And he's like, and then he figured out what that is. Like, oh, literally just putting on this
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah. I'm a dog.
And like he's taking advantage of the fact that people, and especially in the '60s, were like,
I love the fact.
"Who's gonna make that
also,
up?
it
Who's
was
gonna lie?"
always about the girl, dude. Like a typical 16-year-old. He's just like, he sees a pilot with chicks around him. He's like,
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah,
He sees a doctor with money and with chicks around him. He's like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah. I also love the fact that he's just like back in the '60s or whatever. It's just like, okay, so you're not gonna give me a check or do any stuff because you don't know me. I walk in
Yeah.
this bank and they say it several times.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know you, and he's just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna put on a pilot's uniform. He walks in, they're like, all right, you need 1,500 back in cash.
Yeah.
Cool, we got you.
Yeah.
And it's
Exactly.
just like, what?
Yes. He just noticed like, oh, people don't even question.
Yeah.
People don't even question that guy.
I
He can do whatever he wants.
I also thought about in economy on a commercial flight how uncomfortable it is, and this dude flew like supposedly like millions of miles for free or whatever on the deadhead seat. Did you see the deadhead seat?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That was a S10 back seat, like seat that flipped out.
But it was
My guy had to have so many back problems.
Bro,
and
it was
back
stuff.
before-
$0
like-
and 0 cents.
Yeah, back before 9/11, my dad,
No
air
way.
traffic controllers could fly. They called it the jump seat. It wasn't like a dead, but it was like if there's extra room on the plane, or if no one is in the jump seat in that third seat in the cockpit, you're an air traffic controller. You can jump in for free. Nope, you don't pay.
That's cool.
And he did that a lot, like when he was younger. And he's like, dude, it's so uncomfortable. But he's like, it's also awesome because you're in the cockpit. You're talking to pilots.
Yeah.
So he's like, you don't think about it. But he's like, because there's no recliner. You're straight up and down, plastic little bench. It's 100%. But I would do it for a free flight.
Yeah.
It's taboo in our culture, right, in the United States, to say no to people, right? The expectation is called the norm of obligation. The expectation is that when somebody asks you something, that you say yes to it, right? And people take it. Can people like this, or even just regular run-of-the-mill people can take advantage of that fact? Whereas, like, I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to put you in an awkward situation because you're going to feel weird saying no to it because that's how society, most people in society operate, right? Like, it's like if I go to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, like, hey, can I go take a, like I don't know. For example, you come to my house, you're like, hey, I'm tired. Can I go take a nap on your bed? That's a weird question, right? And you're putting that person in a weird spot to have to say no to that.
Yeah.
And he's taken advantage of that all over the place where he's like, I'm just going to fake, nobody's going to call me out. Nobody's actually going to call me out on any of this. I'm just going to be confident.
Because I saw recently on a podcast, like this comedian that got famous on Kill Tony. He's from some like Albania, like some one of those kind of countries. And he was talking about how he's like, you Americans, like you just are always obligated to do different things. Yes. He's like, we have a word in my country's language that pretty much means like, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Which basically means I don't have anything going on, but I don't want to help you. Exactly. Like it's like if hey exactly. Man, can you help me move?
Yes.
This guy'd be like whatever the word is, like I'd rather not. Yeah. But in America, if you do that, you'd be like, what?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you have to come up with an excuse of like, hey, I'm busy. I'm doing. I always tell people like, I'm washing my lettuce, bro. I'm sorry. Because it's like a joke, but I'm also like, hey, you get like, I'm just not gonna.
That's a perfect example of the normal obligation.
Yeah.
Can you help me move?
I also feel like you can't blanket that across our entire country because I feel like there's like a Midwestern, and maybe we're biased because we're from the Midwest. I feel like maybe in the Midwest more you could across the board say that
Midwest
too.
Nice.
But I can't say, I would say like East Coast and stuff. I don't think you could blanket that on there.
No.
I feel like East Coast is not the same culturally
I disagree.
as Midwest people.
No matter that people are in your face or brash or whatever, they still feel an obligation to
help.
Yes.
Maybe
like I grew up in Albuquerque. I told Teresa like the difference between people where I grew up and here is like they'll fight you just as quick as they'll give you the shirt off their back, but they're still gonna feel the obligation of like my buddies are still like, hey, can you help me move? I'm like,
yeah, like maybe not strangers as much, like you're saying, in places like that, but people I would say, I don't know for sure, but people family, friends, like I bet it's exactly the same.
But in other countries, they're like,
I don't
want to help you.
I do think it is a cultural.
You know what they have a thing called a moving company. Go Google one, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna say that to your uncle.
So like the problem with that is like now there's an extra layer, right? Now you should. You have to be on your mind of like, okay, I'm not going to even ask you that question because I don't want to put you in the situation. If you're a person who like thinks about, like, cares about other people,
I do that a lot,
right? You like, I don't even want to ask, but you run to people who don't care about that, and they are very manipulative in that way, and they can easily deny that they're doing anything wrong because they're just like, what? I'm just asking, like you know what I mean? Right. They have this whole thing. It's like, no, you know what you're doing. So you know exactly what you're doing.
On the flip, though, I know like when I notice that. I'll specifically just give those people no's because I'm like, I'm not. No, I know you're gonna have 12 other people that I feel bad for. So no, kick rocks, nerd.
Yeah. Yes. Nerd. So let's backtrack here. So let's close a loop on our.
The movie was great. I give it an 8.5.
Ooh.
Your rating doesn't count. This is for Dave.
But I do
appreciate it because this is my pick, so I do love that.
I like the movie
a lot. We're not
persuading
persuading Dave's rating here, but yes, one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's good.
Great cast.
I would give it 7.5.
Bro, a half point above Interstellar. This is wild. I wish we never watched Interstellar. I'm so upset about your score on Interstellar.
Yeah, I like most movies. Like most movies are around 7.
This movie is so much better than Interstellar, dude. It's so much better.
Okay, so 7.5. I don't have all the ratings off the top of my head. I know you had like Fight Club at like 9 or something, which is still the highest.
It would be better if I could see the ratings, honestly.
Yes, and
I can compare movies.
I need to throw out to you that you do need to go Dave Portnoy and put. We need to put points on your stuff instead of going straight 8 or 7 or 9. We got to put points because as we get into this, when we're on episode 1,000, a year from
but Portnoy started out like 8.5.
Yeah. But I do like you throwing it out there because we do got to differentiate or whatever. But 7.5,
I will say,
maybe it's a little low for what I think it should be.
I think it's a crime that it's a 7.5.
I love the fact that you love the movie as much as I do.
It's great, dude. It's a good movie.
And it's over 20 years old, so it's
these
cool that
is-
it holds up. That's the
wild.
other question. Does it hold up to you guys?
Yeah, it holds up.
You're entertained. Were you entertained?
Well, it holds up because
Did you enjoy
it's already based in the past.
Yeah. There was no expectations of like this.
There's not like crazy CGI so it's
there
easy.
was some that you could tell like it was an older.
But I'm just saying it's
movie.
easy. It's easy for it to hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have. When it comes to movies, almost all of my movies are going to be like, my ratings are going to be like 5, 6, 7.
Then why are we doing this?
I don't know. 'Cause it's still fun to talk about. Why?
I just
Why is
think it's wild
I-
that you think Interstellar
I'm
is
so
just barely not as good as.
But I'm
this
so
movie.
competitive though
Yeah.
that like at this point I'm like, I am thinking constantly.
I
throughout
gave
the
up
week.
on the competition. I'm just gonna start picking.
No,
movies
it's
that
not
are
even a
cool.
competition versus me and you because me and you.
At
were
first it
alternating
was. At
picks.
first it was like my
It's-
scores are gonna be higher.
No,
than your
it's
scores.
to me it's just like I want to show Dave a movie that blows his mind.
Movies don't get me fired up though. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's why I don't like you. I haven't watched.
Fight
movies my
Club got
whole
you
life.
fired up though. I've
Yes,
never seen
exactly.
you more live than when
Very
we were
true.
talking about that movie.
Yes, so that's how you know. That's why it was much higher than all the rest.
But that's the high I'm on, dude.
But here's the
I'm
thing.
trying to chase that.
But like, there's a reason why I have
chasing.
not watched any of these movies until we started doing this because movies don't get me fired up.
Are you hate watching these movies?
No, I'm not.
How often are you texting and looking at your phone during these movies?
Ooh, that should be
A decent
new one.
amount. A decent
Dave?
amount. Yeah.
Dave.
A decent
I
amount.
Do
need
you
your
do
full
that when
attention,
you watch
man.
shows?
No.
When you watch Avatar Stylebender that you went on for 40 minutes about,
You were
do
not
you
watching
watch?
your phone
No.
during Avatar,
No.
were you?
No, I wasn't.
Dave.
I
All right, new rule.
I can't hate on. I mean, it is what it is.
just have
but
different-
I
we have
just, I
different-
just want to
different
know
tastes.
where we're at.
All right, I'm
Different
buying one of
tastes
those
in movies.
phone safe things, and I'm telling Chelsea when Dave's watching this movie, put his phone in. I need his full attention.
Yeah,
I don't care about that. I want to know
I
where
do.
we're at. I'm upset. I'm upset you're scoring.
I'm chasing Fight Club, man.
I just think
I'm chasing.
you have awful taste.
That's fair. I don't watch movies that much, and so it's always just like, Most movies are Most of them. We'll finish this debate later, but for now, we're gonna move on to
I'm a master debater.
the top 5. All right. So after that great joke from Colin, we're back, and the top 5 this week is
I stand behind it. I didn't say anything wrong.
top 5 for this week is top 5 things we learned from being a parent. So I think Matt's gonna go first.
So I will kick us off with number 5. In my,
Time out. Any honorable mentions?
Uh,
I don't have any.
Don't we
No.
always do honorable
I don't.
mentions last?
True, but I still want to know if you got them.
I don't have any.
I have
actually.
one.
Okay.
I don't have any.
Normally I got a lot, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This
I
one was
don't have
tougher.
any.
This one was a little tougher
This
for
one's
me.
tough.
But
this
I think I
wasn't
got some-
that tough for me. But it was like a hard and fast 5. I was like, oh, those are good.
Those are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine are good
I-
as well, but I don't have a lot.
Of all the
extras.
lists, this is probably the one I struggle with the most.
Yeah,
right.
there's some of these
You
are.
do struggle with being a dad. I watch you day in and day out.
I will say some of these. These aren't as funny. Like they're
That's
more,
what I'm
they're more
saying. That's why I
serious.
struggled because I'm not a serious person.
Yeah, they're a little more serious. Some of
not-
them are funny, but some of them are serious. So
that's
we'll
why I
see.
struggled.
Yeah, we'll see how it
be
goes.
real.
I take myself very seriously, which is why this list was so easy for me.
Okay, so
All right,
my
man. What you got?
number 5 is one of the things I learned about being a dad is that you always have an automatic scapegoat by having children in your house. So if something's
Okay.
broken,
Okay.
something's eaten that shouldn't have been eaten,
Yeah.
something's missing,
Sure.
something
Bro.
didn't get done,
Missing is the number one in my
all those things, right? Immediately, your wife's coming in asking questions, right? She's coming in lead detective on a 48-hour investigation or whatever, and it's immediately like, I don't know what happened, right? And there's not any follow-up questions like, what do you mean? You were here, this or this. It's like, hey, we got multiple kids in the house, probably one of them. And she's immediately like, poof with dust. She's on the scene asking them questions, and you're hanging out. You're like, I don't know if that was me or not.
You know what I
But
love
either
doing?
way, heat's off me, so I'm good.
You know what I love doing?
And I'll tell you guys a story, but go ahead.
Tell me a story after this. Can't find the remote in the bedroom. You're looking around. I'm like, babe, where's the remote? She's like, I don't know. It was on over here.
Yeah.
Murphy.
Yeah.
She's like, what? Like, I don't know, but I didn't lose it. I would put it right here. It can't be me. And then like he's like, I don't know, Dad. And you look, it's like right under your bed.
Like, who are you gonna believe, honey?
Yeah.
Me or the 10-year-old?
I
I
love the meme or whatever that says like nothing will make your distrust in people that you love the most in the world more than like the remote being lost, right? Because it's like their remote's lost and instantly it's like, hey, you guys know where the remote is? No. Everybody get up right now. Everybody stand up right.
Dude.
I saw you touching it last. Like, hey, everybody's
Guilty
turning on
as charged.
everybody when the remote's
Guilty
lost.
as charged.
That's funny, dude.
But no, I'll tell you a quick story. I didn't know about this, but I took Emmett's jersey, my son's jersey, and I was writing his name on it, right, as his warm-up jersey for basketball. And I put it over the couch. I got a Sharpie, and I write his name on the back, right? Didn't think anything of it. Take it off. This is like a week and a half later.
Bled through.
I come home, and my wife is going bananas on my son about, okay, can you believe this? Come here, look at this. I already went off on him. Like, he's in his room. He wrote his name on the couch. And I'm like, huh? It took me a minute. I didn't remember that I did that, right? I'm looking. I'm like, that looks just like my handwriting, right? And I'm like, it takes me a minute. And I walk in the other room. I'm like, do I tell her what really happened here? Or do I let my son take the heat?
No.
I succumbed because I'm like, I can't have my son catching this fire, man.
You walk into your son's room, you dap him up, you say, you a real one.
I give him a 10, right?
Dude.
I give him a 10. That's the problem. The other problem about not having cash in today's society is paying your kids off, right? I need to do that more, speaking of this.
Like, I got you, dog.
So I told my wife, I was like, hey, here's what happened, right? And she's just like, I feel terrible now because I'm yelling at it. I'm like, all right, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
But it's just,
did her
to my
feeling
point,
bad get you off the hook?
I felt bad that she went off on him when he didn't do anything wrong, right? There's 9 times out of 10.
No, but did that get you off the hook for writing on the couch like a 10-year-old?
I mean, I caught some heat after that, but she was more so like upset that she was upset with our son.
So either way, it worked out, dude.
Yeah.
But anyways,
that's fatherhood.
There you go.
anything bad that happens when you have multiple kids in the house, you are off the hook.
Yes.
It's also
I like it.
it's also the best way to get out of like stuff. If you, like we talked about that earlier.
Yes.
How you like you can't like say no to things unless you have an actual excuse.
Yeah.
Kids are the best excuse. Also leaving things early.
Nobody
leaving
questions
things,
it.
It was like, I got the kids, the babysitter, and you're gone.
Yeah.
Easy.
If you're a single person with no wife, no girlfriend, no kids, and you're just like, I can't make it tonight, I got a headache. They're like, oh, this person's faking it, and they're not a real one.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Also, though, but also at the same time, if I have gone through enough trouble to get a babysitter to do something, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I don't want to be there, like,
Well,
no babysitter, can't do this, can't do that.
No, what I'm saying is like, it doesn't have to be true. That they go get them from the babysitter. Like,
No, but I'm saying,
like,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an excuse.
It's
Yeah.
so
I'm
easy
caught up
to
now. I'm
get
sorry.
out of anything.
I
when you have
apologize.
kids.
I apologize.
You said you had to wash your lettuce earlier. That's obviously not true.
Yeah, but at least I'm not bringing my kids, dude.
Yeah. So that's
You're not blaming. It's not their fault. It's just like it's a fact of life. Parenthood.
so
That's
that's
their
my
fault. They're not self-sufficient.
number 5.
That's funny.
I like it.
That's good. That's a good one.
Colin.
Oh, I'm going?
I'm gonna go
No,
next.
you're
I'm
going.
gonna go
Dave's
Sorry.
going.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Mine is not as lighthearted as that one. Mine is one thing I learned from being a parent is that children are extremely vulnerable. Just in general.
Okay.
And it's something that like it's something that seems obvious, you know. Of course, they're little kids or whatever. Then you become a parent and you're like, they hang on my every single word. I could tell them anything. They are completely dependent on me. Their entire worldview is shaped by what I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I got me thinking like, they're in a spot of like, that's why parenting is so important. And it's so like, they need to be held to high standards, things like this. Like you could tell your kid anything and they have nothing. They cannot do anything to get out of it.
I think all of us will touch on the same topic.
Okay,
but
maybe.
I was going to say, I have a number 3 that's not exactly that, but it correlates very strongly with yours.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe we'll talk about it more later, but that's something that I realized.
Where's it on your list?
3 or 2.
Okay. All right. So hold.
We'll hold it, but that's mine. But that's something that's really, really struck me as a parent.
Yeah.
Is like, this is a big deal, I guess. It's a this responsibility of parenting is a massive responsibility that cannot be taken lightly.
Yes.
So anyway, that's my number 5.
Yes.
Children are extremely vulnerable.
We'll expand on that later.
Yep.
Mine's a little bit more lighter than that. My number 5 is, I didn't learn this until like my 4th kid. I have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Show kids how to do things. Show kids what to do.
Yes.
Don't tell them.
Yes.
Like, hey, go put that over here. Or like, hey, jump up there and grab that. Like, even like you're like trying to have fun with them. Like, grab onto the bar. Do this, do that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something like some child psychologist talking like kids mimic actions, which is why they, you know, like all my kids like to wrestle because they all wrestle. They see each other wrestling, whatever. But like my last 2 kids are extremely self-sufficient compared to my first 3 because I showed them how to do things. Like I would show them this is how the jar goes on, or this is how you put this away, or hang on this bar and here's how you do it. And dad does it. And then they do it. And now they can do it like that. I wish I would have known that from day one. Because like it was so hard. It's like, dude, just put the bowl in the sink, dude. Just come on. And you just, I don't know.
And the trap I would always fall into is that sometimes doing it for them is just so much easier and faster.
Yes.
In the short run, right? But in the long, it's a short-term gain, long-term loss.
I will say I have actively fought against that.
Yes.
Now there's times like, hey, dude, I just got to get this done, and I have an hour, and this is a one-man job. I'm sorry. Jeez, dude. Excuse yourself. And sorry for everyone's eardrums out there. But because I grew up with friends who had dads that were very good hunters or, you know, fix-it men or contractors or whatever, and they wouldn't show their kids how to do stuff. They just always did everything for them or stuff around. Like they wouldn't include them in an activity. So then we got older. I knew how to do things because I would work for these guys.
Yeah.
I would work for my buddy's dad. So I knew how to do things. So we'd go do something and they don't know how to do anything for themselves.
Yeah.
So I would actively tell myself, include.
Yes.
And I'd tell my wife, hey, this job is a 1 hour job. It's going to take me 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Sure.
Because I got to bring my son up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of like having him hold a flashlight and yelling at him the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
To me, like you're exactly right. I'm just thinking of the small things. Like I'm thinking of tying your shoes, right? Like
Yes.
you're going to church, you're trying to get out of here. It's like, just let me do it, right?
Yeah.
Or buckling your seatbelt, right? Let me do it. But I assume, like with you, with the more kids you get, like you can't do that anymore. Like you physically don't have the capacity. You have to have to delegate these small tasks. You have to do it yourself. I can't, as the parent, do. You know, tie 5 pairs of shoes.
Having 5 kids, it's like when I have my oldest ones help the youngest ones on menial tasks. I fight against when you see kids from large families, the oldest one takes care of this one and they all have jobs. Let that kid be a kid.
Yeah.
So I fight against that a lot.
Yeah.
But buckle him up, tie his shoes, hey, get some water for him, whatever. You also see your flaws very quickly. In when the oldest kid is teaching, you know, one of the younger kids, because they're, no, you have to do it like, just let me do it, and then you're just like, oh no,
I'm gonna touch
I did that to you your whole life.
Yeah. That's good.
You know,
Yeah.
I always tell people, Murph got a very different dad. My oldest got a very different dad than the next one.
Yeah.
And those 2 got a very different dad than the last 3.
Yeah.
Because I was able to see, like, I screwed this up for this kid.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too late. It wasn't anything huge.
Yeah.
But it's just always checking the game tape.
We're learning.
Know? Right, right.
We're learning.
Right.
We are experiencing everything for the first time
as a parent.
As they are experiencing.
And to
everything
your
for the
point,
first
how
time.
vulnerable they are. We'll talk about it when we get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never
All
mind.
right. That's good.
I was
That's
gonna say,
your number 5.
That's my number 5.
Your number 5 segues perfectly into my number 4.
Yep. Okay.
And that is something I learned as a dad, is something you will never stop learning about, but it's patience and listening, right? And I've learned so much being a dad in this regard, and also being a coach, you know, of around young kids, and being in the workforce, where I almost think that, and I'll throw this out there as a hot take or whatever, that if you're a parent and working, you almost have, you're almost like further ahead of everybody else in terms of like being able to work together better, being able to collaborate better, being able to teach better than people that don't have kids. Because you're able to, I've learned as a parent, there's not a lot differences between kids and adults in terms of breaking things down and understanding like the biggest thing and like the why, right? Being patient with people, like taking the time to listen, to understand where is this person coming from, right? They're saying one thing, but what are they actually meaning, right? Diving in a little deeper and being patient and taking that time to be like, all right, what are they really coming at here?
I'm with you, but I also will play devil's advocate because I will listen to my kids and they'll tell me a story of what happened at school or this or that. But I will also say like, hey, your story is boring. And it's not like the story is great, but you are just going on and on and on.
Yeah.
So I teach my kids, here's how you tell a story. Like structure it.
Yeah.
What happened at school today? And you have something cool. Don't just tell me every little detail.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're on the playground and Jasmine fell down and I helped her out and I brought her to the teacher.
Yeah.
Awesome, babe. I don't need to know the 18 million things in between.
Yeah.
You know?
And I got sand in my shoe. And then I...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find that my kids can hold attention of adults longer than other kids sometimes because we literally work at it in my house.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's retell this story, but now I'm going to give you some bullet points and let's just go off that.
Yeah.
So I think listening is good, but also harnessing like that ability to hold someone's attention or not just have diary of the mouth, you know, keep the important things in, all that type of stuff, but also just not shooing your kids away. Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Great story, dude. Whatever.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's just not the instant dismissal of, oh, this happened. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Right?
Bro, when I was growing up.
Okay, well, let me dive a couple of layers back here. Like, what's actually happening here? What are you struggling with?
And this is the new generation of fathers, dude. Children, because when I grew up, I don't know how many times I heard it. Children are to be seen and not heard.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or, hey, the adults are talking, go in the other room.
Yeah.
Or if you do want to sit at the adult table, be quiet. Whereas my kids now, your guys' kids, we're at the table and they can join in the conversation. Mm-hmm. And no one's going to be like, dude, what's this? Why is this kid talking?
For sure.
You know,
it's a cultural change. Like children were not seen. I mean, really, I believe that they're not seen as fully human. They're not fully human yet, right? They don't get the same anything really. Dude. They're around.
Hey, you know what really grinds my wife's gears? My dad, like some kid will say something or he'll do something, and my dad will be like, he don't even know he's alive yet. My wife goes up a wall because it's like, to your point, like they're not going to remember this. So who cares how we treat them, or who cares?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Not that my dad's like a total jerk, but that's just how he was raised, and I was kind of raised in that tree of things.
I hear that all the time from my wife's side of the family or whatever. Especially like my father-in-law told me one time, he's just like, I don't even remember my dad even talking to me or having a conversation with me until I was like 10. And I'm like,
that's wild.
What?
Yeah.
It was all just like, go get your shoes, go do that.
Yeah. It's like he didn't even like acknowledge me until I was like 10. And
that
I'm like,
sucks, dude.
Hey,
but anyways, that's my number 4.
I saw a thing to that point. I saw this guy talking about it. It was like, it wasn't a TED Talk, but like something like that. It was like, for the first 10 to 11 years of your kid's life, you are the superhero in their movie. You're like, much like what you said.
Yeah.
You are the everything. And then from, you know, it's all maturity based, but like the rough age of numbers, like from 11 or 12 to 19, 20, you're a moron. Yeah. And nothing matters that you say.
Yeah.
And then it flips back to, I can't believe I didn't listen to you.
Sure.
You know, and it's all comes full circle. But I think about that a lot. And Murph, like I tell him stuff, and we're in the car just driving and talking, and he's hanging on my every word. And it's like, dude, you only get one shot at this childhood.
Sure.
There's also, I've heard, you know, like the formative years of a child where it's like their personality, their worldview, all these things are shaped from like 6 to like 10.
Yeah, it's
Like that happens in those years.
extremely strong window.
And then after that, sure, like they'll listen, blah blah blah.
But now they're getting a lot of stuff from their homies.
yeah,
Or
but, like,
from someone else.
Your polarized, or your gravity that you have of bringing that in is during those years, and then after that, they're further and further away.
You can shave around the edges after that.
Yes.
But as far as like reforming, like you know what I mean? That
happens during that time. And back to Dave's point, it's a lot of pressure being a parent, man. Like, because I'm thinking like, oh my God, like my son is 9 now. Like
halfway there.
Like, did I do
house.
what I needed to do to help him to?
Yeah.
Also, everything matters so much more to these kids.
It's a perspective though, right? So like you think about that perspective, like your kids are seeing it from like this, right? They can see this much, right? So it is really big to them. It's really big because they're this close to it. You're back behind. You're way back here, right? And to you, it's very, very small. Because you're seeing the whole world.
Right.
You're seeing so much more of what there is to worry about, the actual stressors, actual danger, actual risks. But like they're so close to it, their perspective is only this. Yeah. Therefore, that thing is really big. Yeah. And that's like something that it's not on my list, but it's like something that is
bringing yourself to their
psychology. Level. It's literally a psychological difference.
Right.
That it is a actual big thing to them. Like you cannot convince them otherwise.
So you getting in an argument with your best friends, and feeling like you're excluded or feeling like they punked you or whatever the case may be, is the equivalent of Jared at work getting a promotion over you, right?
I would say it's worse.
But it is, right. Like those two things.
You're getting fired. You're getting fired from you get laid off from your job.
My friend punked me. Okay, whatever. Right. This other guy got a promotion, or I got laid off from my job. Right. You're like, those two things are equal, but they are so far apart.
No, but I would say the equal is there's no other job out there.
I think you're right. Losing your job, there's one job that exists, and you
lost it. Yes.
Like it'd be like that big of a deal. Right. You know what I mean?
That's the equivalent.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like, so I think that you're right. Coming from that perspective, understanding their perspective of being and not trying to minimize it, but at the same time trying to keep them grounded. It's so confusing. It's difficult.
Yeah, that's a challenge as a parent, and how to understand that mindset,
and to also on the smaller end of things be like, dude, let it roll off your back. That one's not important. Yeah. You got to pick your spots, I feel like, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's a great number 4. And, their perspective is in listening. That was what it was, right? That's what something like that.
To the most part, yeah.
Great. My number 4, and these are all kind of similar, but my number 4 is that children are much smarter than adults give them credit for being.
I agree.
They are much more intelligent. They are much more capable of things. And I think this is kind of a weird, like a pendulum swinging, right? Because like in a long time ago, kids were like, you're 5, you're pulling the plow or whatever. You're doing something. Yeah. Right. You're like literally like you can't not. You have to be.
You're not on mother's teat anymore.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You can pull your weight here.
100%. But then like swung to where like kids shouldn't be doing any, kids aren't, they can't do that. Oh no, they can't do this. Like it's a weird kind
labor laws.
It's a weird switch, but like my son has blown my mind with profound statements multiple times. I wish I wrote them down, but I remember specifically he'd say something. I'm like, because I never told him that. It was not on like a show or anything. It was literally just like putting things, just like connecting the dots, putting things together. I'm like, that's a great point. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, or when it comes to coaching, right? Like, my experience is that the kids will rise to the bar wherever you set it. Mm-hmm. And if you set the bar at a 2, they'll come to a 2. Yeah. Very rarely will they go to, if you set it at a 2, very rarely will they go to a 3 or a 4, right? Like, put it at wherever you want there to be, put it there. They'll meet you there, right? Of course, you can't be crazy. Obviously, there's a balancing and everything, but I've always been like, oh, okay, wow, like I didn't think I thought this was too hard, or I thought this was too much, or I thought it's like, and I just think just having children and living with them all the time and like talking to them is like, no, kids, they're listening and they're there, right? They know what's going on a lot of times.
My number 4 rolls into that. really, really
Okay.
easily. Like when you talk about being smarter, my number 4 is their capability. Like talking about capability.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 has to do with chores. Like chores are amazing. Not because I don't got to do as many chores, this and that, but it gives these kids ownership in the household.
Okay. Yeah.
Like just anything. And we talk, like, we preach when someone in my house takes initiative for something, we applaud them like it's the best thing they could ever do. Because, I mean, now they still walk over the same sock 18 times.
Yeah.
But when we're done with dinner and my son just starts clearing off the table and my daughter starts wiping things down and no one said anything, just because it used to be a chore, but now it's just, this is what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
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 It just, the ownership in the household. And now, like my 10-year-old is push mowing the front lawn, riding lawnmower the back lawn. He walks over the lawnmower or drives over the riding lawnmower to my dad's house and mows it. Like, to your point, show them, teach them, and then let them go. They're capable of way more than what a lot of kids, like, or parents think that their kids are capable of.
Yeah.
And it's very, to your point, set the bar high. They're going to hit it.
Yeah.
Like, very rarely have I been coaching kids and they don't hit the bar that I set for them.
Eventually. Maybe
Right,
at,
yeah.
maybe at the first
Right.
time, but like,
Well, yeah, but you get it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
100%,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
But like, I think chores are huge. And there's stats on like kids that do chores versus kids that don't do chores and how they yada, yada, yada. But I just think the ownership of the household, and this is what the household needs to survive, to, to keep going. You're a part of it and you're an intricate part of this household.
Yeah.
Now you care about all your other stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of chores and all that, where do you guys stand on allowances and all that stuff?
We have, so like we don't do allowances almost ever, but in the summer, now that it's summertime, we have, our kids all have a chore sheet. Like every day, like Murph's got to do the poop, like, make your bed, brush your teeth, yada, yada, do a poop patrol, and then, read 20 minutes, this and that. And then my wife will put extra, like pulling the weeds, you get $1. Or doing this, or just, she won't just, it's random. So we're going to the ball fields and they know a snow cone costs $5.
Gotcha.
I have $3.
Yeah.
Mom, how can I get $2 more? Go pull the weeds and sort the laundry and I'll give you $2.
Gotcha.
It's like, we don't have like an allowance system,
Yeah.
Sure.
but we let the kids, after your base chores are done, you can earn some more money when needed, kind of thing.
Because I'm kind of, we haven't ventured into this realm very far. There's been times where I'm, hey, do this and I'll give you $5 or whatever. There's not like a set standard, but I'm also kind of on the side of like, you live here, you pull your weight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to live a pretty good life from my perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Better
I'm
than the life that
I'm
I
in that
led
camp.
Yeah.
when I was your age.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're slave labor, but it's also like, I'm teaching you that these are the things that you need to do, and which I'll pull into one of my numbers here in a little bit. But
to your point, the reason I like allowances, because I'm with you.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to motivate them somehow.
You're part of the house. You got to pull your weight. However, like, I love when my wife gives them extra money here or there because they want a snow cone, and I come home from work and like, Dad, I got $5 on a snow cone, and I'm trying to preach delayed gratification. That way, you're not always just cash poor.
Yeah.
I work, I spend it. I work, I spend it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you could buy a snow cone tonight. Or you were talking about like that purse you wanted that cost $15.
Yeah.
You can save it
Sure.
and keep working up towards it. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then my wife is like, boom, I'll incentivize them more with more money, with more chores. And so they see they're working harder. They're getting more money. They're saving. And some of my kids are like, no. I have one kid in particular that's like, I have $5. I'm buying the snow cone. I'm not doing any extra chores for any extra money until I need more $5.
Yeah.
But I have a few kids that are like, by the time they get to that $15, like, this bag I have is just good enough.
Yeah.
I could save 10 more bucks and get this thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Dude.
Also,
I love
for
it.
sure.
I also love it. My kids will be like, hey, you want to help me do this? And I'll give you $2 or whatever. And they're immediately like, That's not worth $2. Like you're talking about,
They know their worth.
Both of you guys,
Yeah,
like
they know their
being,
worth.
like being smarter, and it's like
That's
damn,
funny.
dude, like,
Well, that's the thing. I think that's another part of this. I think is we understand that I've understand that they're capable, but sometimes they don't understand that they're capable.
sure.
And that's a big thing that I've run into. Where
Yeah.
like,
But it'd be like you asking them to go out there at 9 or something and be like, "Hey, go change the oil in my car."
yeah, exactly.
That's-
yeah.
No,
exactly.
Like there's no way.
Yeah.
But to your point, I am in this men's group called Capin's Men, which now you're part of the church. You should start coming. It's through the school year. But they read we read a book.
I don't want to go. It's fine.
Well, you're not part of our church. If you come to St. Peter's, you can come.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. I didn't want
We read this book called Into the Wild about like the true like essence of being a man and how to incorporate whatever. One of the big things was your capability and like how many guys grow up without even being told that they're capable.
Yes.
Or like because I like that's a huge thing. And before I even was in this men's group, I would always tell my kids like, dude, you know I'm asking you to do this because I know you can do it. But like a big munch, like, dude, you have this within you.
Yes.
You are capable of doing this.
For sure.
And just those were just seating them in like, someone believes in me, I can do it, and they just go out and do it. And you're like, see, I told you.
For sure.
Or they hose it up the first time, but they get close.
Yeah.
And you praise them for it. You show them how to fix the problems. Dude, I'm 100% on board with that.
Like, and it's even pushing them, right? My daughter she's in theater. She's a great singer, all these things. She did not want to audition for her first show. She was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to audition. I don't want, you know what I mean? And like, no,
yes,
you're going to do it. And now she loves it and everything. But like that step, it's scary, right? It's a scary step sometimes. And it's like, okay, I understand. It's again, that perspective. We see the bigger picture. They see just the fear, right?
Right.
It's like, no, you're going to try out because I know you can do this, right? And then the rest is history kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, I don't know whose number that was.
Yeah.
I think it's both of our numbers, but it's capabilities. Number
I think
4.
That
a
was
lot of
yeah,
these-
my number. Yeah, that was me.
I think a lot of these will segue. So mine will segue into your guys's, but just maybe
This is your 3.
number 3 for me, a different vantage point of your guys' points you've made so far. But it's introspection of yourself, right? And it's understanding.
Spell introspection.
Country of origin?
Yeah, let me ask you real quick.
Using a
But it's understanding how your behaviors. It's more so not what you're telling your kids, but it's more so how your actions, behaviors, mannerisms, all these things impact your kids without you knowing it, right?
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing is you becoming a parent that you don't understand and realize, like Dave said, like your impact on them is massive, right? And it puts the pressure on you, but it's almost the things that your behaviors, your traits, like all the negative things that maybe you know or don't know about yourself will manifest themselves through your kids. And it's scary when it happens, right? You brought up earlier, right? When you're telling your kid, hey, buckle them up, right? And they're buckling them up and you hear yourself.
Mm-hmm. Your tone,
your
words,
your aggravations,
yes,
all these things. And it's like you hear it and you're just like, oh my God.
It's like there's a mirror walking around.
Right? Because your boss, your wife, your dad, somebody, as an adult man, they can all tell you like something, right, out of love, like, hey, you need to be doing this or you need to do that, right? And you just miss it right away, right? You're like, whatever, like, But when you see or hear something out of your kid that, again, you didn't say, it's just your behaviors going to them, right? And like one of the easiest examples of mine is I bite my fingernails. I've always done it. It's a bad habit.
Samesies.
Yeah, I do it when I'm anxious. I do it when I'm bored or whatever. All 3 of my kids bite their fingernails.
None of my kids bite their fingernails, and I wish they would. Their fingernails are hella long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, just bite them, dude. It's easier.
All 3 of my kids bite their fingernails, and then they'll even bite their toenails, which I don't do that. I'm not flexible
when I was a
enough
kid.
to do that, right? But they all 3 do it, right?
Yeah.
No, I never sat them down and was like, here's how we cut it. They watch me do it, and they all do it. My wife doesn't do it. But that's an easy example where it's like, all right, this is a bad habit that we need to crack, right? Yeah. But it's I know I'm impatient. I know I can easily get aggravated. I know that I'm not the most loving or I'm not the best or easiest to express my love as other people are, right? Of just being like, hey, blah, 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 right? And I see that manifest itself within my kids or whatever, right? And so when you talk about like people that don't have kids or say that I can never have kids or whatever, I think the best thing in the world to make you a better person is having a kid, right? And if you care about being a parent and care about being a good parent, yeah. But if you care about being a good parent and you care about becoming the best version of yourself, nothing will make you do that more than having a kid.
It's the ultimate game film,
right?
There's no game film on your life, right? You're not. There's no constant camera on you that you can check back, right? Like you're watching a game film.
Yeah.
Your kids are that game film, right? Because they are constantly that is the camera on you. Their eyes are the camera, and their actions are what are the manifestation of what you have taught them and showed them.
How you treat your neighbor, how you talk to your friends, how you
talk to your wife,
how you deal with situations that are difficult. Dude, they pick up on all this stuff, right?
Like I said, they're so smart, and that's the biggest thing for me is like how I treat my wife. That is a huge, that they're going to learn how to be in a relationship from you. Yeah. They're going to be, how does the man act in a relationship from you? Your son is like looking to you. How's he treat mom? Because obviously from their perspective, like an evolutionary, just animal perspective, this is an example of a successful male. Yeah. Right. This is what I say.
Alpha.
This is what a male does to like, have a wife, have a family.
And then again, to put the pressure back on you about having a family. And I've heard that, and it's set a lot of precedent with me is if you want your kids to have a successful relationship and a marriage when they become adults, you have to think about your own. And because they live 18 years inside of your marriage.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
18 years of their life or more, right? Their formative years, essentially, they are living inside of your marriage. So how do you see success in their relationships as an adult when they're living inside yours, right?
Money.
And you think to yourself,
do you know what?
Am I setting them up for success?
Yeah. You know what puckers my kids up?
That's scary.
Almost quicker than anything is if they backtalk my wife. I just stop and I say, hey, who's talking to my wife that way? That's my wife.
Yeah.
No one talks to my wife that way.
Except
and
me.
you just see. Mostly it's my oldest son just be like, I'm sorry, Mom. It's just like, yeah, dude. Like, this is your mom, but she's my wife first.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That kind of thing.
But no, that's my number 3. And like I said, it's realizing that anything that you're projecting outward is being picked up. And if you don't like something that you're doing or something that you're about,
yeah,
it's being put out there in the universe and being picked up, man.
That's
for
sure.
It's not missing.
That's a good one.
So
that's a good one. My number 3 is realizing that your health is more important than it used to be. Your physical and mental health matters more now than it did before. You right? Me getting hurt or whatever, it matters more. It matters more. It's a bigger deal now than it was. Yeah. Right? Because like me getting hurt before.
Which we talked about this, but like that's why I won't go sky. Like I think it'd be cool.
It'd be crazy.
But it's just not worth it.
Yes.
Yeah,
try landing a plane, go on a high speed chase.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
To your point, like you look at these parents who will drive by them. Their parents are out of shape, whatever, sitting in the lawn chair in the driveway, scrolling on their phone. And their kids just like riding their bike in a circle versus the parents you see might be overweight too. Like but they're out walking with their kids and their kids are riding their bike or they're shooting hoops with their kids or they're playing catch with their kid. I'm with you 100%. Like,
not as much for me actually, because I've never been a risk taker ever. Right, so that doesn't change. Surprise you to know. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Outside's overrated.
Yeah, exactly. but it just seems like okay, like I need to be healthy. I need to live as long as I can.
Yes.
For these people, for these human beings.
Yes.
Right. Like it's not. If I died before I was married, people would be sad. Right. If I died now, their world is exploded.
Yes.
Like their planet blows up.
And we've all seen it.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I also throw out there that some of my motivation, and I agree 100% with what you're saying, but some of my motivation is like staying in shape and all these things is when my son's of age to actually be able to give me competition in any sporting event, I'm holding on to that thread, man. I am holding on to when he's like 16, I'm still gonna be able to give him the business, right?
I told Kai, there will be a day where you beat me in one-on-one basketball.
Yes.
But that's not today.
It ain't gonna be
and
today.
it's gonna be, and I'm gonna hold on to it.
But yeah,
I'm gonna hold on to that until
it ain't gonna be in middle
possible.
school, dude. So that's my motivation when I'm when I'm working out. Like
that used to kill me.
No.
When our kids, like a few years ago, when my son, he didn't play basketball anymore, but when he did, they'd play 2-on-1 against Hainer.
Yeah.
And Murph would come and be like, Dad, we beat Coach by a point.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you didn't, dude. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And they'd get out against me every once in a while. And I'm terrible at basketball. I'd mop them 10-2. I'm like, guys, I'm not Coach Hainer.
Yeah.
If you beat me, just know you beat me,
Yeah.
dude. Because I ain't going to let you have it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just your health is important. I think your mental health is also important. These are things that affect not just you, they affect your children every day. They affect their lives.
It's also just way more fun, dude.
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt. Yeah.
It's way more fun to just do stuff with your kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, number 3.
My number 3 ties into yours about being kids are smarter than what people give them credit for. You were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. Because my number 3 is apologize to your kids.
Yeah.
I am a big proponent of apologizing. My dad was a great father, an amazing dad. He still is.
Hey, you're saying that because he's watching? Hey, Mike.
No, he's not watching.
Oh, that's right.
He's told us. He's like, you guys are boring. That's what my dad's like. You guys are boring, dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, he is a great dad. My dad apologized to me 0 times in my life.
I can see that.
I mean, maybe now that we're adults and we can argue. I mean, my dad and I argue. That's how we communicate, is arguing. My wife gets fed up with it, but like we're just having fun, poking around, and but like growing up. No, actually, I remember one time I apologized to my dad about something when I was like in high school, and he told me, "Don't apologize; it shows weakness."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was thinking about that, and I was like, I don't agree with that. And now that I'm a father, my son's 10, I apologize to not profusely, but when I'm wrong, I'm like, "Hey, bro, that's my bad. Yeah. I screwed. Here's what I was thinking. I didn't listen to your side because I thought I had it all," or whatever it may be. I just like, I was wrong on this, and I'm sorry. And my son's like, that's right, I forgive you. I just think it's very important.
I think that's
because
huge.
These kids are smarter than you think.
Yes.
Because I remember going to my room and be like, this old man don't know squat.
Yeah.
Like, he did not see it from my side. I for sure know I'm right. This is ridiculous. My mom sometimes would be like, hey, it's okay. Just let this blow over. And in my head, I'm like, I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
When I screw up, I have to apologize to you.
For sure. You're modeling behavior that you want to see reproduced in them. Yes. And the behavior now is humility. It's, being able to admit when you make mistakes. You're just, again, modeling behaviors that you want to see.
We're all learning, dude.
I'm not quick to apologize for anything. I'm bad at it as well.
I'm very quick to apologize.
Yeah.
It might be because of my dad. Maybe I was like,
no, I'm bad at it, but I have learned as being a parent that it is way more important to go tell them that you're sorry for something. And not only that you're sorry, but talking to them, hey, I didn't handle that correctly, right? I told you to go get your shoes. You didn't get your shoes. I exploded on you or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm upset about that you didn't get your
100%.
shoes, but the several minutes after that, I didn't handle that situation correctly.
Right.
And I apologize for the way that I handled that. However, when you need to get your shoes, you need to get your shoes, right?
Yeah, there's still a lesson in. I'm not just saying like I'm sorry for doing that.
But I'm right
100%.
there with you, dude. Where it's like I will tell them quickly that I will backtrack and be like, I did not handle that as I should, and I apologize for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And try to find the middle grounds of the lesson in between what happened.
I will say my kids talk back to us, my wife and I, way probably a million times more than I ever talked back to my parents. And I think it is because like I'm open to apologizing, or like we will hear their side. But also now that they're getting like, there's sometimes I'm like, dude, this is not a conversation. You don't get a say in this one. I asked you to do something and you're going to do it now. There's no but dad. There's no nothing. Go do it.
Yeah.
We can talk. Once you're done, we can talk about what you were going through or what you were feeling. But this is what needs to get done right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's like you got to toe both sides of the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my number 3. Apologize to your kids.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump. So my number 2, and again, there's I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of things that I model being a parent off of, right? And it's 2 things that I live by being a parent is one, like I expressed earlier, that they live 18 years inside of your marriage. That's a big one, right? That impacts the way I do things. The other one is, and I heard it one time and it's really stuck with me, is that the people that want to be friends with their kids instead of parents or whatever, but your parent, being a parent, your job outside of, protecting them, providing for them, right? Those are the essentials. Outside of that, your job as a parent is to run out of jobs for your kids, right? So you start out, you're changing their diapers, you're washing their clothes,
Right.
I see.
you're feeding them. As they get older, you teach them how to wash their clothes, how to feed themselves, right? As they get older, you're teaching them, how do you pay a bill? How do you get a job to provide for yourself? How do you get an education? How do you write a check?
Letter?
Right? So you're doing all these things so that one day you run out of jobs to
Right.
give them because they've learned all the jobs that they've given them in order to propel them to
Interesting.
be able to take
like
care for themselves
Yeah.
one day. And then when you no longer have any more jobs to give them or to teach them, then you can be their friend. Right?
Dude,
Interesting.
100%.
I like that.
Because Murph, my son, sees my dad and I. We're like really good friends.
Yeah, you guys are very close.
Yes.
I was going to bring that
Very
up with
tight.
those topics. I'm glad you did.
But sometimes Murph flies a little too close to the sun,
Yeah.
and he'll, try to get in the mix with me or with my dad or with both of us. And I'm like, dude, you don't get to say that yet.
Yeah.
This took
Yes.
me
Yeah.
25 years to get to this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you got to trudge through
That's
the
funny. Yeah,
trenches,
that's
Yes.
interesting.
and then
Yes.
we will be
For sure.
really good friends.
Uh-huh.
We can still have we're still friends. We can still have a great relationship.
Yeah.
But I got friends, bro.
Yeah.
I don't need you to be my friend.
And I will say you'll never stop being a parent. But if you're a good parent, you've done everything that it takes to prepare your kid to be independent.
Yeah, and plus also like you see it time and time again. The parents who are their friends with their kids live in their basement when they're 35.
And they're paying for their car insurance still.
Exactly.
They crash their car. What am I going to do? I'll buy you a new car.
Yeah.
And they're making excuses why they can't hold a job.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Right?
Sure.
100%.
So, but anyways, that's another thing that I kind of that's always sat with me. Something I heard that I think is just great.
I never heard it put that way, but I
like it.
I agree with you 100%.
I like that a lot.
Your job as a parent is to run out of jobs for your kids.
Nice. That's your number 2?
Yep.
Number 2. All right. My number 2, going back to the word that Colin can definitely spell, introspection. When you become a parent, you realize how selfish you are.
Yeah.
Nothing will expose your selfishness like having children, because especially when they're young, when they're infants, because infants do not care about you. I know it's a weird thing to think, but they don't.
As a dad?
They just don't care about you. They don't care about you, your feelings. They don't care about if you're tired. They don't care about if you had a hard day at work.
They care about surviving.
They care that exactly right. All they care about is living. So like you realize that like, oh, I can't maybe, if your strategy is somebody upsets you, you give them the cold shoulder, right? You're just like, oh, I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna work on an infant.
Right.
Or like yelling, you can yell at an infant. Not gonna work. Literally none of your communication strategies or like manipulative tactics will work with an infant.
Right.
None of them. Like in like how much you because it's all about them. There's literally they have nothing to give you, right? It's so you have to understand that like, oh my
They're
gosh,
selfish.
dude. They are. Well, but they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I understand. I'm just.
And then
I'm getting kind of awkward over here because we're so serious. I just I'll make some jokes every once in a while.
Well, no, but I mean, it's just funny. Like it's like you go home and you're like you're tired. Obviously, you have little kids and you're tired and you're like, so you just go to sleep. And there's like, I don't care, Dad.
Yeah.
Like wah, give me my food. Like, I don't like it's just like things like, oh my gosh, like there's nothing I have to get out of myself completely. Like there's nothing that this relationship is completely one way. And like it just also, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. And before you didn't have kids, you had time to do all this stuff, and I can't. Right? Like you have to be able to sacrifice. Like just over and over the sacrifices you have to make. That you realize like, oh my gosh, I am, and hopefully will be less, just extremely focused right here.
Yes.
And like the kids, I think having kids will expose that.
That wound up on my list several times as I was writing this. I told you I struggled with it, but it was selflessness and sacrifice. Is something that you learn as a parent early on. That you're like, oh, I'll have kids and we'll have cool.
Because good parents get it.
Yes. But it's just it's the ones that are like, we'll have the pictures and we'll be in the sunflower field. And we'll be at Easter and they'll be all in our cute matching stuff. And it's like, no, man, those are snippets.
Yeah, you haven't slept for 3 weeks.
Yes.
Right? Or whatever.
The other stuff is the hard stuff.
Yeah, and that's why
day in and day out.
That's why having dogs is nothing like having children.
Dogs are way faster than kids.
Yeah, I got a comment about one of those coming up here.
But anyway, that's
that's good.
They'll let you know if you're not selfish, if you're not ready to give up your time, your money, you're gonna learn today.
Yep,
you're gonna learn.
Anyway, my number 2, you learn that you're selfish.
I don't like the way you phrase that, but I agree with your take on it. I guess I just don't want to ever think I was selfish, but you're exactly right.
Yeah, but your selfishness is exposed, and you quickly turn to selflessness.
Like something that you learn. Like
yeah. All right, my number 2 is sport, and we all agree here, but the world needs to hear this. Sports are for learning lessons, not for earning scholarships.
I love that.
Is kind of like how I wrote it down.
Okay.
Like just the world of travel ball, AAU basketball, travel ball, baseball, softball, youth soccer, you name it. Like your kids are in sports to have fun, to be competitive, and I use sports to teach life lessons. And I teach life lessons with sports. They go hand in hand, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest part is because you have to check your ego as a parent. Like I've experienced it with my own kid. Like my oldest daughter, Reagan, she's been asked to play on several different softball teams. She's invited to play on this basketball team, and we did it. We fell for it. We're like, yeah, she can play on this basketball team. It'll be great. It sucked, dude. It was not worth it. And then like she's on her softball team now. The other night I asked her, like they got blown out in 2 games, doubleheader. I'm like, babe, are you having fun? Like, would you rather be on a better team that wins more? Or do you like playing with your friends, like, and losing? What would you prefer? She's like, I like playing with my friends, Dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's lessons in there of how you can still compete and be a competitor on your team, even though your team's not great.
Yeah.
There's so many lessons in there. But like at the end of the day, too many kids are like, well, we got this trainer and we're doing this and we're doing that.
Yeah.
It's 90% genetics. Your kid's going to figure it out,
Yeah.
Baseball might be a little different because you can just train to be a pitcher your whole life and be an amazing pitcher or whatever. And there's these freak cases of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, let your kids have fun in sports and teach them lessons as they go along. It's not all about winning every tournament. It's not all about being on the travel ball baseball team. Like, just meet your kids where they're at and let them enjoy it.
Yeah.
And ride the ship with them.
Yeah. And you're also, through sports, exposing them to different things that they could potentially love and be passionate about too, right? Hey, I got you in soccer. Do you like it? Not really. Okay, we'll try a different sport.
I know, don't get me wrong. Like I loved sports. But I was all about sports.
Yeah.
But I was never on like these crazy teams. They didn't really exist, I guess, when I was a kid. But
and it's starting earlier and earlier now.
Dude, people come up like, hey, does your kid want to be on our softball team next year? Like, we'll play a team, and like some parents will come up to us after the game, like, does your kid want to play with us? Like, no, we're good. I'm good where I'm at,
I
dog.
love the fact that you brought up that conversation because I had the exact same conversation after this past weekend where we've been a little bit frustrated with the team that we've been on for baseball this year. We changed, we pivoted and we're all on different teams now and we haven't won a lot of games. Some of the games have been frustrated. As a parent, I'm like, am I putting my son in the best position to, further along his development and all this stuff, right? I got all these things running through my head. And then you're like checking your ego at the door, right? Because I'm driving him home from the game. I'm like, hey, buddy, you having fun this year with baseball? You still like it? Yeah, I love it. You're not discouraged? Like, what would you think about being on a different team or whatever next year? And he's like, no, Dad, I like this team. These kids are fun. I like playing with them. I'm having a good time playing the sport. And he's like, it's not all about winning. He's like, I'm having fun playing the game. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, I'm so focused on the outcome of all these games and his development and all this stuff, and I forget that I have him in this, and he's a kid playing a game.
Yeah.
And I instead of me doing all these things behind the scenes like we've seen some of these other parents do, right? They're making money moves and doing all this stuff, right? And I'm not taking the time to sit down and ask my kid, are you enjoying this?
Right.
You having fun? You like kids you play with?
I will also say like a couple of days points, like pushing your kids and being selfless. Like my daughter loves the team she's on. They're all her friends. She's having a great time, but she's still very competitive. Mm-hmm. She's still like, she'll ask me, can we hit balls? Can we play catch? Can we do this? And I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm off work, whatever. Yep. Let's go to the garage. Let's hit off the tee. Let's do this and that. But that's another example. Maybe you have all the money in the world and you can pay for the trainers and they're better than I am, at coaching, whatever. Fine. But like, you can develop your kid a lot by spending time with them in the backyard. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That just goes to selflessness and pushing your kid when like they see it. Like I see a spark in my daughter for softball. Let's get after it a little bit. Yeah. Hey, you've been watching TV for an hour. Mm-hmm. I'm home. Let's go play catch. Let's do this.
Yeah. Dude, what's been working with my son in basketball? I said, okay, like you got to make 100 shots every single day for a month, and we'll give you like some money or whatever. Like it has to be every single day, right? So if you miss a day, you have to start over. You have to start over. So like, okay, he got out there, 100 shots, and then like so now like it's like we're like month 3 now. Now every single morning gets up. I see we have a little camera out here. Gets out, opens the door. I see him with his shoes on, his basketball. It's just like it builds up like at first it was like I'm just doing this because it was the thing, but now it's just like in my routine. So it's like he says I want to play basketball. Like I want to play basketball like at the high levels. Like if that's what you want to do, this is what it takes. Yep. Right. It's every single day. It's not every once in a while. But now like it kind of like builds that. It's like a routine now. It's like every single day I just play. I play basketball every day. I go out. I don't have to spend 3 hours. But every single day I'm putting up 100 shots or making 100 shots. So shooting couple hundred or whatever it is, and build that discipline, that love for the game. Like,
well, I don't know. In my family, it rubs off too, because my son is the same way. He was like, I want to be better at football, baseball, whatever. Like, so let's lift. You need to get stronger.
Sure.
So I mean, I got him doing like plyos and calisthenics and stuff right now. But I got weights outside. We do some of that when I got time. Mm-hmm. And if I have to leave work or like leave early, I write out a workout for him, and I tell him like, I'm not getting up to wake you up to do this. You said you want to do it.
Yep.
Come get me. And there's times like I get up, I put all my stuff on, and I just lay in bed and I wait. Yeah. And I hear his alarm go off. 10 minutes later, he comes up. Dad, are we working out? Yes, sir. Nice. Let's go. Yeah. And then my two other kids are now like, Dad, I want to work out. Can I work out? No, you need your sleep. In a year, you can start working out. Cool. And then in 2 years, you can start working out.
But no, I'm really glad you brought up sports because I think that's important because it's not just sports, it's activities or whatever. It's your parent as a parent. It's hey, I'm going to put you in all these things and maybe you have an interest in, and then we're going to narrow it down to what you actually love, right?
Or don't.
And then you knock off what you don't like, but you find those things that you have a passion for, right? Yeah. I'm not going to push you in these things. I'm going to guide you, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to guide your passion, and we're going to work together to get you the best you can at this, because you, right? And that's your job as a parent. It's not, okay, I grew up playing baseball. I love baseball. I'm going to play. And then I'm going to have my kid terrified to tell me one day, like, I hate baseball.
Well, but like this whole like thing of these trainers, like, again, your kid wants it and you got the resources to do it, go ahead.
Yeah.
But I'm coaching high school football now, and we just got done with our first week of camp. I'm looking around and all these kids, I'm like, 7 of you kids could go play at the next level, and 1 or 2 of you can play Division I out of 80 kids on this field. The rest of you are just here because you love the game and you want to be with your homies and everything else. Like, let's not lose sight of that. Just go out there and have fun. Let your kids have fun. Who cares if their team sucks, whatever. Let it rip, dude. Yeah. That's my number 2.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So my number 1, and again, this is a heavy-hearted list. I feel like there's no way to make everything funny or whatever.
Yeah.
But my number 1 is just learning when you have kids, this unconditional love, right? Because there's no other relationship that you will ever have in your life that you just love that human being for no. There's a reason, right?
Yeah.
But for no other reason than they're your child and you watch them, right? Because if you have a roommate, a girlfriend, a friend, a coworker, any of these people, right, that walked into your house, ate all your food, left their clothes, you had to do their laundry, they showed up somewhere and was like, hey, I forgot my shoes, I can't work today, right? All these things that your kids do, you'd be like, this person is a jackass. Like I can't be around this person anymore, right? Yeah. But your kids do it, and you love them the same no matter what, right? And you don't feel that or understand that type of love until you have a kid, right? Because I love my wife, we have a great relationship. But you get to a certain point, we've all been married long enough to
you get sick of her.
But no, that love becomes something that you feel, it's automatic, and then one day it turns into a choice, right? You have to choose to love each other.
Sure.
Right? You don't choose to love your kids, you just do.
It's a different type of relationship with your wife, right? Because you do get something from the relationship with your wife, right? Like, they provide things to you, provide things to them.
You also chose them.
Exactly.
You chose each
what
other,
I'm saying is go back to the example of what I'm saying. You're supposed that you're selfish. You're not getting any. This baby is not giving you anything. Yeah. Literally, you're only giving to the baby, right? Yeah. So like the fact that you love it so much is kind of wild, right? It's like it's kind of like what else is like this? What else is give, only, right?
Yeah.
Receive nothing back, but I'm fine with it.
Yes.
Like there's no other relationship that exists like that.
Yeah.
Even like a marriage, right? Even in a marriage, if you like only gave forever and they were rude, mean, did not like pull weight around their house, like were rude to you, like all these things, eventually that relationship would sour,
would break,
right? But like it's different. It's just different. I don't know. I think you're exactly right.
I say it a lot. Not a lot, but I've said it before. Because people are like, you're so good with kids. You love kids. I don't love kids. I love my kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean my immediate family. Yeah. But I also mean like the kids I coach, this team. I love these kids.
Yeah.
Those other kids can kick rocks. I don't really care. But these kids on this team, you know, I love these guys.
Yeah.
So 100%.
Yeah, is this something that hits you like a tidal wave that you'll never experience until you have a kid? So I was going to bring into this dog moms. Yeah, you think you know love, but dog moms, if you don't have a real kid, you don't know.
There's so many examples of people having kids, like dog moms having kids, and their dogs are gone. I know so many people like that. They're not gone, but like. They forget about them.
You're a plant in the corner.
It's with
bugs flying around it.
For sure. That's a different. You're gonna get me
I was gonna say I can expand on that, but we don't need to.
You get me going.
Yeah.
My number 1 is it's actually not super serious. But I think it's a good one for this list. You learn, my number 1, when you become a parent, you realize that before you were a parent, you were never busy.
Oh my God.
Ever. You were never there was at before you realized that, actually I had infinite time. before you become a parent, you're like, oh yeah, but back then, my time was unlimited. It might as well have been unlimited.
Yeah.
And like thinking back to how I felt, so stressed about this, or I had so much to do, and you're like, what are you talking about, dude?
Nothing.
Like, you're nothing.
Absolutely
nothing. You had unlimited time.
Yeah.
Back then.
I want to go back in time and punch myself in the face for thinking that I was busy.
Dude, because like I
on
like
a Tuesday when I got off at 4.
Bro, I have all these hobbies I want to do, and it's like precious moments when you get that chance to like, I want to do this thing. Like I want to play disc golf, or I want to play like, I used to spend hours doing absolutely nothing. You're just chilling for hours. I'm like, man, I wish I would.
So great.
Yes, I wish I would have done.
Great.
But I wish I would have done something. Yeah. Like like understand. But that's just the curse of youth, right? That's everybody. Yeah. You understand. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you saw me out earlier painting the pickleball court.
Yeah.
You know how many weeks I've been wanting to do that?
You asked me for that tape measure like 3 weeks ago.
Yes, and I felt bad. I've been housing that thing in my garage, but I'm like, hey, I finally have time to go do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did it.
So, dude,
I literally saw you doing that. I was like, I looked in the garage. I saw Ashley's car wasn't there. I was like, checks out, dude. You got some time. The wife's not home. Better get it done now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's not as serious as your guys' were, but I just one thing that just struck me is like, man, dude, I had so much time.
Yeah.
I could do whatever. Even like in college, like, and even when I had like a job, like,
speaking of that, this has to do with childhood. I'll never forget my last semester of college when I was done playing football.
Yeah.
And I didn't have workouts or film or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 3 classes.
Yeah.
And I'm just done. I'm just like, now what?
Yeah. What do I do? No job?
You guys, like, let's play some video games. Let's go do this. I'm like, you guys just did this for 4 years?
Yeah.
What?
And the answer is yes.
I would not have survived, dude. I'd have failed miserably.
I was going to say, to add to yours too, like busy, and then the other one, opposite side of that coin, was tired. Like, you thought you were tired when you were 23?
Yeah, dude.
And you just worked a job and had nothing else? Like,
Yeah. Yep. So
that's a good one. You can call her spitting, man.
My number one to end it off is you can't parent every kid the same.
Yeah.
And this is something I had a buddy growing up who bounced around from house to house to house within his own family, had a rough childhood. And one of his, his father figures told us that we were hanging out, drinking beers with him in high school. And he said, because he had 2 kids, he said, you just can't treat your kids the same. And I remember being like, what? Mm-hmm. That's the worst thing. Why would you not treat your kids? That's so rude to not treat your kids the same. And I went back 8 years later, after I had kids in college and everything, I told him, you were exactly right. You cannot parent your kids the same. What this kid needs is not what that kid needs.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 2 different styles. And not to say like it's drastic, but there's different tactics, techniques. I have 5 kids, and I don't treat a single one of them the same. They all get different treatment, all within the same spectrum, obviously. But you got to treat your kids differently because they're all different. There's 5 different people.
They're humans.
They're all your kids, but they're 5 different humans.
Yeah. And like you said before, they were born into a different family. Each one of them, right, was born into a different family.
Yeah.
Right, with the same parents, same human beings, but parents in different stages of their parenting, like exactly what you said earlier, right? And like your first is born into just you 2, right? One mom and dad and first kid, right?
And way more poor.
True, but
that's how we were.
Way more poor in money, but rich in attention. That's one thing that they were rich in, right? Is number one. They had full attention.
Yeah.
Number 2 has half of that. Number 3 has a third of that, right? They're born in different families.
It's funny you say that because my oldest, he got the rough end because I was still like, you got to spank your kids. You got to do all this. And I've grown since then. and like we were poor. We had a tiny house. He grew up like he went from his own room to sharing it with 2 kids to sharing it with 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And my youngest child is a boy. He knows none of that.
Yeah.
He grew up in a bigger house.
Mm-hmm.
He's always had his own room. Will only have his own,
Mm-hmm.
that whole thing. But when I go take trips to the store, like Murph loves running errands with me, just me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone adds in, hey, I want to go. Yeah, come on. Murph almost instantly, always, I don't want to go anymore. He wants that one-on-one time.
Yes.
And if it's not me, unless it's like something really cool, then he's always in. But
For
just
sure.
running errands,
Yeah.
like because we just jam music, I'll give him the aux cord, whatever.
Sure.
He's like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Again, it's not necessarily better or worse, but it's different. It's like what you said,
100%.
right? Like, so your youngest kid splits attention 5 ways.
He'll never know.
Right?
Like he's always gonna be like, I'm game, dude.
Yeah.
I'm always in.
I'm always in because I'm the youngest, and I'm
Yes.
always like the last, like the afterthought kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so it's just just understanding that like it's not a cookie cutter. It's not like it's gonna be like it's gonna fit every single person.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought. That's a good point, and that was like when you talk about how many kids you want to have.
Yeah.
I kind of came to the realization that it's like, all right, you start out with your first kid, and you're like, oh, I get money, blah blah blah, right? And then once you have more kids, you're like, all right, well, like, I'll have to work till I'm 75 anyway with the economy and everything going the way it's going, like whatever. But then when you start thinking about how many kids do I actually want to have, that was one thing that dawned on me is like, I think of it the same way of like, your attention is this, right? It's 100% is your scale. And each one of those kids, like the more you have, the less and less and less that is that you have to give them. And at the end of the day, what is most important to you? Do you want to give them the most of your attention? And so that I think it just dials down to like, what are your importance levels of things you want to pass down to your kids, or what do you want to give to them?
Yeah.
And it becomes less and less about money as you become more of a refined.
Because you can always get more money.
Sure.
Right. Like I'm not saying it's easy to do, but it's possible.
But you figure it
to
out.
get more money.
You figure it out, like you said.
Time is finite.
Yes.
Right. It is completely you can nothing you can do to get more.
Yeah, and like you said, we all start out as poor parents.
Yeah.
Being like,
yeah.
Nobody's balling out with their first kid, right?
Yeah, no one.
And then you get to a third, and it's like, all right, we got this figured out. Like things are going a little bit better, and then you're less worried about that, and you're more worried about, okay, what am I actually giving them in terms of value or quality?
Yeah.
Dude, I was
a
thinking
human
back to my original point of treating kids the same. I'll never forget my second child, Reagan. She's my daughter. She's like a pretty natural athlete. She's very competitive. And we were doing something, I was coaching her hard, and I got on her, like pretty hard about something. And she kind of broke down and cried. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Dude, this is not who you are.
Yeah.
And like we quit, put all the stuff away, go inside. And I was like, what's going on? I'm like, yada yada. I tell her, she's like, babe, you can't treat her like a boy. I'm like, yeah, I can. That's the beauty of Reagan is she acts like she plays like a boy. She's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, she's still a girl, and we have different emotions and this and that. And you hit a nerve. I'm just like, I'd go in the room like, hey, babe, I'm sorry. Yada yada yada.
Apologizing again. There you
go. But it just like it struck me as like, oh, even though you can hold your own and you're just like my first son, you're not like you're not no matter how close you are, you're not. They're not the same.
That could be another great list one day. Is differences between boys and girls parenting. But
Yeah.
No, I think
There's one glaring one.
Anyway, that brings us to the
Lazy
end.
Dog Studios is all out here tonight, man.
That brings us. I mean, I think it's a good list, guys.
Yeah.
Little less,
That
little
was
calmer.
That was very sobering.
It was a little
Yeah.
calmer.
I don't. Next week. Let's pick something more fun.
Yeah.
We gotta go back to our shenanigans.
No,
Yeah.
but it's. I mean, it's not sad though. It's just it's more serious. It's like
It is, but
because parenting is serious. I mean, at the end of it, it's fun, but like it's a big
I'm
deal.
built for laughs, dude. I want to laugh.
It's introspective.
Introspective.
Word
That's
of
the
the
word
day.
of the day.
Yes.
Introspective.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good
think so.
list. You guys did great tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate
You as
it.
well.
Appreciate it.
Don't take your cans off. Dave's gonna yell at you.
Let's find somewhere to end this.
And
Now.
cut.